All right, greetings everybody, and welcome back. We're going to be continuing on with this music, I guess, because it's just easy. And we're going to be talking about global news. So really quickly, let me take a look what's going on. All right, so emergency maintenance, you guys got some of that. So it's nice that JP and Global are sharing some of that. What did you get for your last one? Doesn't look like anything. So you got some Wotv FFB updates videos. Cool. Classification of jobs. Unit update. Sure. Guild battle and arena maps. Near Automata collaboration part 2. There we go. All right. So what's in this? We got 2P. We got Lucio. Light of Brilliance. And last but not least, a new VC. And there will be another new VC that is a lower cost one that you can just get shards for free. So definitely do that should you have the time and the willpower. But today I want to kind of go through in terms of descending order of what the general, I think you... Wait, ascending or descending? I guess we're starting with the VC. So let's say ascending in terms of quality. All right, so starting off with New Year's Banquet. Now, this VC came out on JP, and essentially I tried maybe a couple times for it, and I landed on the idea that the near VCs were generally better than this one. I mean, the near VCs have a lesser chance of coming back in the future than this one does, because this one will essentially come back a few times, and if it's not limited on global, then it's just constantly available. I've had conversation with guildmates about this VC, and it is good for certain teams. That is definitely true. But I actually think that this one falls on the category of probably not worth it, not worth the resources. This just isn't really that. I think he likes to sing because he thinks Dad's sing. I don't know if you guys can hear that. Drop a comment if you could hear that. Where was I? Oh my goodness. This VC, I think, is just generally good. I don't think it's crazy or insane. I don't think it really pushes any specific team better. I mean, obviously, Bo's in the future. There's the new version of Shadowlinks, but she doesn't seem that crazy. With Staff and Book Equipable and Sword Warrior, there are teams that work with this, but just given the overall general cost of Holo VCs, my general thought with this one is if you have to ask, you probably can't or shouldn't afford it. So there you go. That's just my opinion on this. I think it's mid. All right, but mid things aside, there are a couple of other things that we're going to talk about, starting with Lucio. And gosh darn it, new Lucio is so freaking cool, man. I think that he is one of the coolest looking characters the game has ever seen. I think the idea of him getting his upgrade is well overdue, and I think that his kit has some neat stuff besides just, supporting different damage types. I think that he can do some really good support level stuff, and to that extent, some people might be curious. On JP, is he rare? Like, do you see him, Umbra? And the answer is yeah, you see him. It didn't even take me more than 3 seconds to find a near top 1k team that is using him, and in an evasion style. And that's the thing. This character is just generally really good and is on a permanent fixture on light elemental teams right now on JP. Here he is again. So, like, it doesn't matter if they're mage or physical or magical teams. Here you can see one that's way more decked out with top tier, level equipment that isn't an evasion build, but you can get an idea for the kind of stats that he's pushing. The people who like this character build him very, very quickly. And to that extent, yeah, he is, great there. And here you can see maybe more of an example where this VC would also be good in combination with these characters. And this is one of those corner cases where I think this VC is good. Also, if you're just doing it for the bonus. But Lucio has popped up in a bunch of different teams on JP, and like Flight Elementals love him. He's pretty good. But there's the key thing. He isn't like a meta dominant force. There are teams that beat him. They are generally pretty strong, and he is generally pretty strong. So it doesn't feel OP. He just feels particularly really good, and a character that has cemented himself on every light elemental team in combination with Helena. So yeah, if you went on Helena, there's much worse ways that you could probably spend your resources here. So I'm going to say overall, yeah, Lucio, good investment, especially for light elemental players. For people who are multi-elemental or kind of just wishy-washy, it really depends on how much resources you have versus what you see that's coming out in the future, and if you want that over this. Personally, I don't think that Lucio has been successful at all in other elements. Like, I haven't found a particularly neat cross-elemental team that has done very, very well with him. Like Helena, the new Helena has been in a bunch of different places. A2 has been put with a bunch of different characters, and both of those have had far more success than Lucio has felt like on multiple different teams. But again, that's essentially my findings and where what I feel is very, very accurate to the way JP is. Now, Global does have the addition of some extra evasion-y stuff. So I already may have lit the fires of saying, like, guess what? You can do a weird style evasion-ish team that people are not prepared for, and you kind of mess with them. Like, it's totally possible. You can see the numbers here. They're not insanely good. I have no idea. I'm not throwing away my arena orbs because they are way more valuable now with Volca medals in the mix. Sorry, that's why we're not doing that in this. Speaking of which, we're going to talk about the last thing coming out on Global this week, and probably the one that I feel the most confident in recommending, because she does fall into the category of being potentially good on Fist teams and Earth teams, which is 2P. 2P is a very, very strong character. Not unkillable by any means or any stretch of the imagination. I don't believe at all that she's anywhere near what King Bradley was a year prior. But this is another character that has cemented herself in JP Arena and Guild Battle teams because she's pretty easy to build for evasion. That can mess with some people. She can also just be thrown on strike element teams with strike damage type teams with Bridal Elia too, to a great amount of success. And with New Ketone, that's also, as it turns out, really, really. By the way, I just noticed. Same name as my cat. Damn. Yeah, I think that when people are looking at these, it's also important to remember that if we were just straight out comparing which one's easier to get in max, it's going to be 2P. She's a 90 cost on average. More people will be able to get her than someone else. But if you don't have evasion equipment, and this is really a huge asterisk too, certain VCs are kind of necessary towards pushing that evasion comp to be really more reliable than just so reliable. And that's kind of thing you want. You kind of want consistency a lot of the time. And to that extent, when it comes to my recommendation, I think that people should remember that, key evasion VCs, that can be something that I talk about in a future video, a final judgment video, if you will. but this is the, fair strokes kind of thing. Lucio kind of gets a little bit lower because even though he is semi-limited, more accessible than 2P, 2P is generally easier to get. Both of them are roughly about the same in terms of maxing, with the fact that Lucio you can do daily shard farm, which is a little bit faster. But specifically 2P, yeah, just works in more combinations than I feel like Lucio does. And that has been my experience with these characters. What Global makes of them will be interesting, and I cannot wait to hear about it from some of you. What your ideas are, what your plans are. Are you going for either of these, or are you saving for the new version of Dario Hitone, which, sure, why not? Ketone for my others, and last but not least, Shadow Link. So, yeah, thanks for watching. Here, chime in later. Yeah, tomorrow. Day to play. Go.